Part 5. Arrival in Modesto, California was half a day late. It seemed to me my new adventure had become tarnished by the drama just past. I tried to put the nightmare behind me and entered into the excitement of meeting new friends and receiving the training required to prepare for a summer-long mission trip. But I was haunted by the fresh trauma wherever I was. I couldn't shake it. To cover for the real wound, I embellished on the facts about the bus accident and robbery. After 1 week of training, our small group separated from each other and drove to our designated destinations throughout the valley. I have some wonderful memories of my time at Harris Ranch and camp. My part was to work with the children of the migrant workers. They stole my heart. This time was a brief, bright spot in my life. What should have lasted all summer for me lasted only 1 month. I would love to take the time to share these happenings in detail, yet that is not God's motive for touching on this experience. Before I move on, I have been impressed to tell about a tragic confrontation I witnessed at Harris Camp. My morning was about finished under the tree classroom when I heard terrified screams rising up from the irrigation ditch that surrounded the camp outbuildings. I sent the children to the communal dining hall for lunch and caught up with our supervisor, Anand, as he ran to the ditch. An alarming sight met us. A distraught older son was pushing his dad away from a large feed sack that was full of his baby brother. The dad had gone crazy with despair, having too many children and earning less than 90 cents per hour in the fields. I watched as Anand took control of this terrifying situation. We moved on to their 1-room plus porch home, where the mother threatened her husband with a frying pan, and another relative waved a gun around. The police came and took the broken man away in handcuffs. Later we heard that he was kept in jail 1 night and then released to enter back into his own personal hell. There were other heart-rending sights and sounds to impress upon my bruised spirit and soul. The beginning of the 3rd week at camp, I began to notice symptoms of a sprained ankle, but I didn't remember twisting my foot. The pain moved up my leg and into the rest of my body. Bouts of fever began to shake my body, also unexplained. Anand made an appointment for me to see a doctor in the nearest town. He ran some blood tests and rushed them through. There was fear that I might have the dreaded valley fever, which can be fatal. By Friday I couldn't use my hands to pick up my utensils to eat. I could not grasp them. The word came in I was to leave that night for La Mesa. The area director was driving in from San Francisco to personally drive me home. All they would tell me was that the blood test came back and I was in a serious condition. So my summer adventure was cut short and my future was questionable. Monday morning I was admitted to a hospital for more tests. Dr. L.C. diagnosed me with rheumatic fever. He told us that I must have had an emotional shock that caused a traumatic reaction to my body. The rheumatic factor lying dormant within me was triggered into full-blown action. It was a year of rest, and more rest, plus injections of penicillin. It wasn't total bed rest. It might as well have been with go to bed early, get up, and take a nap every day. This was very difficult, considering I was tormented by nightmares of E and my foolishness. Since I had not shared the truth with my family, I had to suffer alone, screaming silently into my pillow after the nightmares. Remember, I was convinced that I would be told that I was as guilty as my attacker. Sometime in August, B.T. came back briefly to see me, and because I had trusted in him, I told him the truth about the molestation. B.T. crushed me with his words. "Oh, come on, Diane, don't give me that. You were into that walk through town for the thrill of it. Don't lie to me. I was right. I wept bitterly as I fled from the car, running to hide from him and anyone else who would laugh at my puny shame. So I never did tell the truth until years after my deliverance from my hell. I had to talk about it, to express something, so I told far-out stories that would have made Hollywood proud. The saddest part, never realizing that everyone could see through my stories. I was rapidly losing myself into a maze of fantasy. Sometime in September, early in the morning, I stepped out to retrieve the paper, opening it as I walked back into the house. There on the front page was a picture of E, with a caption stating that he was to die in the electric chair that night for raping and killing a 13-year-old. More chain links were added to the long-time growing chain around my mind and emotions. Something snapped inside. It was like I was being dragged to hell and I could not care. I got involved with T.E., my boyfriend I met during probation sessions at Grossmont Junior College, letting my heart experience love again. I enjoyed the dates with him. Then one day, he disappeared without a word. In late fall, I received a postcard from him. He was in the Army at Fort Ord, California. T.E. apologized to me for running off. He admitted that my illness scared him. He couldn't handle the idea of having a sick girlfriend at the time, so he ran away. The next episode in my life happened just before my 20th birthday. I remember I had begun experimenting with smoking in secret. I thought no one was aware of my nightly walks. My brother Bob knew about it and later confronted me. My mom didn't find out about the smoking until 6 months after I had quit. One night after the dinner dishes were washed and all the family was busy otherwise, I stepped out for my walk around the block. I was so weary of pain, from the rheumatic fever, from the pain of rejection, bitterness, and guilt. I had coldly decided I would take care of the pain by killing myself. I believed the lie of the father of lies. Why bother with life any more? What is the use of living with a broken heart? So I walked to a vacant lot, not far from our home on Broadmoor, and smoked my last cigarette. This lot was a grassy knoll, overlooking the city of El Cajon. Alone under a starlit sky, yet I wasn't alone at all. Satan and his demons were there to make sure I accomplished his plan, to get rid of this so-called deliverer. The Lord and his hosts were also there, on the ready to do the Lord's bidding in regards to this child of confusion. I looked down on the city of light surrounded by the foothills and mountains. The name El Cajon means the box in Spanish, and it truly looked like a box. Without another thought, I jumped off into that box, and in mid-air 2 hands took hold of my shoulders and stopped my downhill fall, pulling me back up the hill and gently dropping me down on the grass about 4 feet from the edge. All thoughts of killing myself were knocked out of my mind. I looked around the empty lot and picked myself up and headed for the sidewalk. If God had lifted the veil, I would have beheld the knoll full of praising angels and a cloud of witnesses cheering the Lord for a timely rescue, and also I would have seen Satan and his army leaving down the hill with their tails dragging the rocks. Praise the Lord, what a deliverer he is to his people. His arm is not too short that he cannot save. Psalms 136:12. With a strong hand and with a stretched out arm, for his mercy endureth forever. Thereafter I traveled downhill in my emotions. The doctor took me off some restrictions, and I was allowed to go to night school to learn some clerical skills. I met a new friend, and she was pretty fast with the guys, and she rubbed off on me. We did a lot of double dating, and I thought this was a fun time in my life. I went wild and started to do some drinking. I don't have much to say here except, God who? My poor mom and dad. They were at their wits' end. Whatever happened to their happy daughter? Who was this stranger? Mom made some connections, asked bunches of questions, and before I knew it, I was sent as an outpatient to the psychiatry unit of the California Rehabilitation Services. This began 2 years of therapy and treatment with rehab. They never told me what was wrong with me. Of course, my family was told. I was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. Ephesians 4:17, 18, 19. This I say, therefore, and testify in the Lord, that ye henceforth walk not as other Gentiles walk, in vanity of their mind, having the understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of God through the ignorance that is in them, because of the blindness of their heart, who being past feeling have given themselves over unto lasciviousness, to work all uncleanness with greediness. That 20th summer I started work as a car hop for cleaners. I worked split shift, and it was a difficult job and very taxing on my health. I came down sick with a bad cold and sore throat, and was out a few days. I returned to work too soon and relapsed. Mom took me to see the doctor, and after some tests admitted me to the hospital. We were told later that I had a combination of strep throat, kidney infection, and lymphitis, and there had been a threat of borderline blood poisoning. They had not told my family how dangerous it was, not wanting any undue excitement to cause it to happen. I had a high fever, had to partake of IVs every 8 hours. I felt like a pincushion. A major experience happened at 3 a.m. that next morning, and here it is for you to ponder. I woke up and noticed it was 3 a.m. All was quiet in the halls outside my door. I was still hooked up to the IV through my right foot. I began to feel cold, icy feeling flow up my legs into the rest of my body. I couldn't feel anything, couldn't move. Then I lost my sight, but I could hear. Then my hearing was gone also. I sat up, got out of bed, and walked away toward the door. I could see and hear then. I turned to look at the bed, and was startled to see me. I was shocked. There was a force field that wouldn't let me leave the room. A nurse briefly looked in, and I was yelling at her. She didn't see or hear me. She walked on down the hall. I paced to the window, then went back to the bed. I was restless. I said, God, what's going on here? And he replied, Diane, I'm not ready to take you, and you are not ready to leave. There's much to do. Now go back and lay down. So I did. Then I could hear, see, move, felt warmth flood my body again.